Osu is changing, and not in a good way, with a sacred part of Osu history recently being completely wiped off the face of the internet. Jakads. To some, this name might be just any other player that they've come across during their time in the game, but to those who do know, this name sparked multiple historical plays, historical records, and breaching boundaries that no one thought would be possible. And now, it's gone. But to those who don't know who I'm referring to or aren't that familiar in the Osumania game mode, allow me to briefly introduce why this is the main topic of the video. Jakads is a VSRG player from South Korea who excels past boundaries that no normal person could. He's widely regarded as one of the greatest rhythm game players, as every game he touches, he is regarded as a top player. He held the global #1 spot in the Mania game mode for over 5 years, and throughout those 5 years, achieved 7 tournament badges, 6 of which was being first place, and 5 of which was on the biggest tournament for Osu, the World Cup.
He does another full combo!
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 Osmania 7 Key World Cup champions, South Korea!
Jakads inspired an entire generation of players to play and improve at the game in hopes of one day becoming as great as him, all the while being extremely humble and entertaining through his content that he would stream and post Osu related videos as early as 2016. But what many others don't know is that Jakads is also very prominent in other rhythm games too, with him previously posting insane Sound Voltex plays, him achieving a $1,200 bounty on FFR, $1,000 of which was donated to the Ukraine Crisis Relief Charity, and recently was crowned the best Chunithan player in the world, winning its biggest tournament, the KOP.
こすりそうなところすべて指で処理していく。そこまで来たら出てしまうんじゃないですか？おお、今のこすりなしで抜ける。
うまい。
うまい。オールジャスティス。チューニズムインターナショナルバージョン優勝のジャカズ選手トロフィーをお取りください。優勝おめでとうございます。
So now that you're at least somewhat informed of who Jakads is, let's move on to what actually happened recently that sparked a major controversy within the Osu community. And it all began around 17th of September this year, with popular Osu standard players like BTMC, White Cat, and even the long-running Osu score posting channel Circle People to be issued copyright strikes from an artist that goes by the name of Ahisa. You may know them from songs such as Logical Stimulus, Pudding Fanfare, and Cheshire's Dance. These copyright strikes sparked an insane amount of controversy over on Twitter, with a channel known for its historical archive of some of Osu's greatest scores achieved from as early as 2016 and amassed over 100 million views all of a sudden being completely wiped off the face of the platform. Users were quick to take to Twitter and Reddit addressing the issue, but things took an unfortunate turn for the worse. Not gonna lie, I hope no one listens to your music anymore. Why did you have to terminate Circle People's channel? Years of Osu history has now been lost thanks to you. Wishing you the worst. Many from the community were quick to point fingers at Ahisa, and let's just say, many people took it way too far. With Ahisa themselves mentioning that they were DM'd with death threats and even more hurtful comments, but brushed it off and took it with a grain of salt. It raised a lot of red flags for other big artists to stray away from interacting with Osu, and some pre-existing collaborators to have to re-mention what songs they were comfortable with being used. Other members within the community also shared their distaste with the way people handled the Ahisa situation. Absolutely shocked and disgusted by how the Osu community treated Ahisa. You guys are fucking up Osu's reputation. Even the #1 Osu standard player voiced their opinion. This drama really shows a lot of the Osu community's true colors. About a year prior to this whole incident, Jakads had already distanced himself away from the game, as he gradually grew tired of Osu and found more enjoyment in other rhythm games, particularly arcade rhythm games. So to be hit with the news of the community targeting Ahisa, it was the final straw for Jakads in his decision of completely cutting ties with the game that he built his reputation on. In his long Twitter thread, he attached an image of him emailing Osu support, requesting a complete removal of his account, as well as completely removing all Osu content previously uploaded onto his YouTube channel. Jakads mentioned his distaste in the game built on stealing unlicensed music and distributing them through maps, YouTube videos, and more, which eventually led to his final decision. The community was split, as some wished Jakads the best of luck in his future endeavors, and others didn't take it that well. You make it out like Osu itself is stealing money and fame from the music artists. This is overdramatic, dude. Doing this literally adds nothing except ruining the history that you created. This is stupid. Am I the only one who thinks this is stupid? What is he even trying to achieve by doing this? Within the next coming days, Jakads thread gained a lot more traction, with news about Osumania's former #1 player wanting to completely cut ties with the game. And the reply that stood out most and shared similar feelings with the majority of people came from a familiar name in the community. Sudden Death, being a previous captain of the South Korean MWC team and even winning the 2016 MWC alongside Jakads, had this to share. If you were going to leave, you could have left quietly. You know how the Osu community can be at times, but why did you have to generalize it in this way? I understand that your presence in the arcade rhythm games is now very active, but I just don't understand the reason of this post. It was clear that Jakads had completely made up his mind and would not change his decision. And although many people disagreed that his presence on the game can be left alone, it felt quite selfish that he is so eager to erase his previous videos and Osu profile along with all the historical achievements and plays that he's contributed to the game. And 2 months later, on the 28th of November, Jakads' Osu account has been completely removed off the Osu website along with his Osu YouTube videos. And it doesn't seem like we'll ever be seeing Jakads associating himself with Osu ever again. Now that everything is out of the way, I personally want to add my own 2 cents to this whole situation. It goes without saying that Osu is a free rhythm game accessible to everyone who chooses to play it. It also goes without saying that with the hundreds of thousands of songs in Osu that are free, some of the artists don't want their song in the game. Most of the artists aren't even aware that their music is being used in the game. And Eisa may have been the catalyst to what people speculate to be quote-unquote the end of Osu. But this is the reason as to why Peppy created the featured artist page and spent thousands of dollars on damage control. However, I don't think this situation would have been as severe as if the community hadn't reacted the way they did. It gives a really bad rep to an already tarnished one for the game. And recently, many other artists have voiced their distaste for the game and want nothing to do with it. As for Jakads' situation, I feel like we have to respect his decision as he's already grew tired of the game. As for the deletion of his Osu profile and all of his Osu videos, it is, in my opinion, an overreaction, but an understandable one. It is really saddening to see years upon years of historical scores and memories now erased, and a legend who once was the most looked up player, now a name to feel nostalgic or, to some, disappointment. It's obvious that Jakads made a name for himself from Osu, but that doesn't mean he'll stick around in the game forever, and we just have to respect that, instead of cursing people on their way out. In its current state, the community's rep is not looking good, and so, as a final send-off to this topic, I'll leave it to Junihun to say this.
If preserving Osu history is so important, then we need to equally respect the groundwork of these beatmaps, the artists, and the featured artists project. We can be better and we must be better, but right now...
I hope you guys enjoyed this documentary on this very serious topic that has been discussed a lot lately. It would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and like the video, as it's free and helps me with the algorithm. Another big shout out to the members of the channel, Nick, Anthrax, Antoine, Soyro, Rejust, HeteroSapien69, and everyone else for supporting me through membership. I have a lot planned for the upcoming year and I hope you all look forward to it. Thanks and see ya.